Hey y'all, Professor Wyman here with another small video. This is on independent and dependent variables. So independent variables, also referred to as X, is considered the cause. So when we talk about an independent variable, it is independent of what else is going on in the study. It shouldn't be affected by other variables in the study. And we'll talk a lot more about this when we discuss experimental studies, but this is a basic idea is that independent variables are the cause. So if you have two or more variables, you're looking at something that you think has an effect on or impacts other variables in your study. Now, it can be manipulated, like in an experiment. So you could change the temperature in a room, have one room that's hot and one room that's cold, and see if that has an effect on mood. You as the researcher could manipulate it. You can also have a subject independent variable, which is something that is already in existence about the participant. And that's not manipulated. And so you cannot talk about cause and effect because of that. There's people that feel differently about that. And we'll talk about statistical cause and effect later on. But again, there's two different types. There's a type where you are manipulating something. And then there's a type that's just something about the participant that allows you to group them, like gender, for example. And then there's a dependent variable. Dependent variable, or Y, is the effect or the thing that changed, what was measured. So you're going to measure the dependent variable, and you think that the independent variable had some kind of effect on it or changed the dependent variable in some way. So for this basic video, I'm just going to use some examples from studies so that we can talk about what the title indicates. So this is exposing digital posing, the effect of social media self-disclaimer captions on women's body dissatisfaction, mood, and impressions of the user. Our independent variable is social media self-disclaimer captions. The way that we know that is we're saying the effect of. So when we're talking about the effect of something, that means that that is the potential cause. So the effect of our independent variable on our dependent variable. And we have multiple dependent variables here. We have women's body dissatisfaction, mood, and impressions of the user. And notice this word on. So we're saying there's an effect of independent variable on women's body dissatisfaction. That's our dependent variable. So you can think of it as the independent variable pushes the dependent variable. The dependent variable is dependent on what the independent variable is doing. Do teacher status, gender, and years of teaching experience impact job satisfaction and work engagement? So this one is a little trickier in that this is a subject. These are subject independent variables. So teacher status, gender, and then years of teaching experience. That's not something that you can manipulate as a researcher. Those are existing parts of your participants. That's something that's already in existence. It's a subject variable. So you can look at this information and say, this is different between our participants. And so we think that there's some kind of relationship with our dependent variables here. But notice that this impact, so do teacher status, gender, and years of teaching experience impact? This is wording that indicates that these are your independent variables. And we're saying, do they impact? So they have an impact on job satisfaction and work engagement. Those are our dependent variables. So again, not experimental, but these are still the independent variables in this study. Let's do one more. Effects of cognitive behavioral therapy for reducing anxiety in children with high functioning ASD, a systematic review and meta-analysis. I know I chose some long titles here, but hopefully this helps. So here, effects of cognitive behavioral therapy. Our independent variable is the therapy. So we're looking at effects of, again, that keyword. And we're seeing, does it reduce anxiety? So that's our dependent variable, is anxiety. And reducing, we're looking to see, does that change? So again, you can see here that we think that this anxiety is dependent on the cognitive behavioral therapy. So independent variable, cognitive behavioral therapy, dependent variable is anxiety in this example. We'll be doing additional examples in class, but hopefully this video will help to clarify some of these basic concepts.